Hey folks, lack of response here. We are doing another round of the good, the bad, and the weird. Today we are looking at this knife. Let's sit down and take a close look. All right, here we go. We're looking at the Microtech Borka Blades ram-lok stitch. We are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the weird. The good being things I like about it. The bad being things that I dislike or, that somehow count against it in some way. The weird being just whatever's weird about it. And we always like to start with measurements and size comparisons. Let's get out our measuring tape. We're looking at 8 3/4 inches. Thereabouts. Okay. And thickness. Maybe a 1/2 inch if you're mean about it. Okay. And size comparisons. What do we want to compare it to? Pretty standard things like the Spyderco Shaman. My fingers are cold right now, so it's a little tricky to do things right. And the large Sebenza 21. That's not center. There we go. Let's move everybody over the middle. There we go. Okay. There we go, and just the angles of things might make things look weird. There we go. So yeah, about large Sebenza 21 sized. And a little bit bigger than the Spyderco Shaman. Another good size comparison, since we're talking Microtechs. Where did we go? The last one we looked at in this Good, the Bad, and the Weird series was also a Microtech. This was the Microtech SOCOM something or another. It's a little longer. The blades are not as tall. Thickness is comparable. Okay, but that's enough comparisons. One more comparison, just for my own amusement. Because here we go. Strider SMF. There's a reason why I got this out, and we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. First off, let's talk about the good. First off, I want to add a caveat before we get into the good. These are not the scales it came with. These are Cerakoted aluminum scales from Original Goat. You can Google Original Goat scales and find them and buy scales from them if you want to. I like these ones. They were pretty easy to install, and that's good. There are aftermarket scales for it, and they are easy to install. That is lovely. You just take out the body screws and the pivot screw, and there are separate screws underneath here that hold that locking mechanism together, so you don't have to fuss with a spring yeeting itself into oblivion or a blade flailing around uncontrollably necessarily. You can lock the blade open and just safely swap a scale and then swap another scale and be perfectly happy. So that's good. The blade shape is good. Do we see anything on here that says the blade material? I think these are the... What's that one say? M390MK, I believe. So that's the M390MK blade. It's M390 with a little bit of extra Microtech seasoning. I don't know what that Microtech seasoning is. I don't care. Other YouTubers have said it, and I agree with it. The blade steel is not as big a deal as the blade geometry. and the use of a knife. The blade steel will affect your corrosion resistance and how often you need to sharpen. But for day-to-day cutting stuff, you need good blade geometry, and this has it. The blade isn't super thick. Let's compare with the Microtech, SOCOM, whichever. I feel like this is a little thicker stock when you look back there where the jimping is. This one being taller has more space to come down to a finer edge, and I feel like it has a nicer swedge. It does not have the little crud catcher grooves, so that's good. The finger hole, thumb hole, is chamfered very comfortably. It's beautiful. I love that. That's just a nice little touch. Makes it a little comfier. It's got a nice harpoon. I actually like this blade shape. It's kind of looks like an arrowhead, a very pointy leaf. What do you call that blade shape? Like, now with the ergonomics, which are also good, right? You can kind of cut down onto a surface without your fingers getting in the way so much. That's nice, because that way you can cut onto a surface. You can choke way up and get your finger there for little fine detail squiggles. I don't know who cuts like that, but you can get your thumb right here on this jimping for pull cuts if you need to pull cut something. And it's actually got a nice finish. I think that's satin finish. And if you think it's something different, tell me in the comments, alongside what blade shape you think this is. It's Microtech stitch blade shape, if nothing else. Next good thing, the ergonomics. And that's why we have our friend Strider out here, because you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. There's a nice finger choil. And then this curves away from the spine, down, like down towards what you're cutting. That, it gives you stridery ergos, which I really enjoy. It's my favorite kind of handle shape. It's not as fat back there, but that downward curve kind of gets you the same feeling without bulking up back here. And so it's kind of banana, kind of sausage. You feel me? It's a green banana, so it's not ripe. You cougars, stay back. Making jokes. Okay. You gotta let your bananas ripen, folks, for eating or other uses. Okay. The pocket clip has two little screws on it. They are not recessed. That's just a feature. I use pocket slips, so I don't care. The locking mechanism is the Microtech ram-lok. You can see right in there, that's a spring wrapped around a metal pin that goes into this big block of material. Do I have a magnet within easy reach? I have a magnetic fidget. Let's see what magnetic fidget says. Now, I know these liners are steel, so that may be the magnetic fidget catching the liners. So I'm not sure if that block is steel or titanium. I really don't care. I think it does what we need it to do. The pivot is on caged bearings, so it swings freely. It holds comfortably. We talked about the ergos. Excuse me. I had to go out in the cold. The handles. When I bought this one, it had G10 scales with a bit of texture on them. And I upgraded to the Cerakoted aluminum from Original Goat just because I wanted it to be a more colorful knife. The good thing about the handle, beyond the ergonomics, is that it is available in a bunch of different colors from Microtech. If you don't want to fuss with swapping out your own scales, visit your favorite knife retailers. You will see these in G10, in think there's injection molded plastic. I've seen a few different colors of aluminum. I've seen spendy ones in titanium. So you can go for the handles you like or find something more to your taste without having to buy aftermarket scales. And that's good. The hardware, right? Nice, deep screws. Deep screws. Okay. And on a banana. On a green banana. Okay. Nice deep screws so it is easy to get purchase with your tool and disassemble the knife if you need to. It's got a back spacer that runs most of the length, protect your hand from the blade. With it being this narrow, I don't think it'd be that much of an issue. But it's nice to have a back spacer anyway. Does the back spacer say anything on it? Doesn't look like it does. Big finger choil is good. I do like big finger choils on a knife, and I think that also kind of contributes to being able to keep your fingers out of the way when you cut down on a surface. Love that feature. The bad. I'm going to have to really nitpick on this. Okay, these little screws here for the stop pin are a little proud. These screws feel a little proud of the handle. And whereas back here body screws do not. The screws that hold in the back spacer do not feel proud of the handle. I don't know if they just want these ones to be a little more robust because this is holding in that little liner section with the locking mechanism and the pivot hole. So they want something more robust there for strength, whereas this just needs to keep the back spacers and the handle secure. And some people may also gripe about the pocket clip screws standing a little bit proud because that might snag on your pants if you are using the pocket clip. As I've said in a lot of videos, I use pocket slips, so I really don't care about that. I think the pocket clip is good. It is comfortable. Like if I really squeeze this thing like I'm mad at it, then yeah, that'll poke me. But if I'm just like, you know, doing normal, breaking down a cardboard box or opening an envelope, it doesn't hurt. It's fine. It's comfy. The weird. The banana handle is a weird thing, but it's also a nice thing. It makes a knife comfortable in hand. It's ergonomic. It looks weird. It looks weird, but it's comfortable. The fact that it took Microtech so long to come out with a manual stitch when they had been making the autos for many years, where instead of having this ram-lok, there was the button. And that button was the only way to fire the knife because it was a side-opening auto. So it was an auto with a finger hole that was purely aesthetic. So that was weird, but that's not this knife. And this knife, the finger hole is perfectly part of the function. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but you can spidey flick, you can thumb roll. The fact that it took so long for them to come out with a manual stitch is the weird. I'm glad they finally did, because this is a really nice knife. I've used it a lot since I bought it. It has never disappointed. I recommend this knife. If you want a Microtech that is not an auto, that is not a SOCOM whatever, this is the Microtech. It is so comfy, so useful. It's got a nice pokey point for poking holes in material. It's got a little bit of belly. but it still functions almost like a modified Wharncliffe, if I'm, you know. It's close enough to the blade shapes I like to work really well. And that's why I strongly recommend the Microtech ram-lok stitch. It's got a whole lot of good, nothing really bad. And it's just cool. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of the Microtech ram-lok stitch in the comments. And stay tuned for more.